stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Immediately following the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll have Tracy Brooks with Victory Assembly Church lead us in the invocation. If you could please remain standing. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this city council, and their acknowledgement of you through this opening prayer. Tonight, as this city council addresses the issues facing our city, our community, and its citizens, I ask that you would grant them wisdom and knowledge to govern in a way that would honor you, uphold our laws, protect our rights, and provide the best future for us and our city. As you have placed them in authority tonight through our citizens, we will honor you by honoring them. Bless this city council, this city, and the people of this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. One of the first items of business this evening is a proclamation. I think it's near and dear to my heart. It's very nice, and this is an issue that is very meaningful. We have a recycling program in Bonner Springs now. I'd like to present this proclamation to Amber McCullough, who's in charge of our recycling program. Whereas each year the United States generates more than 258 million tons of municipal solid waste, more than 4 pounds per person per day. And whereas according to the Environmental Protection Agency, our nation has reached an overall recycling rate of approximately 34.6%. And whereas to focus the nation's attention on the importance of recycling, America Recycles Day encourages citizens to learn more about recycling options in the community, commit to recycle more materials, and purchase products made from recycled materials. And whereas participating in America Recycles Day is one way to help raise awareness about recycling options and commit to recycle and reuse more products every day of the year. And whereas community leaders can also use this as an opportunity to spread the word about the excellent recycling programs, the growth of markets for recyclable materials, and buying recycled content products. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Harrington, Mayor of Bonner Springs, Kansas, do hereby proclaim November 15, 2017, as America Recycles Day in Bonner Springs, Kansas. Congratulations. Very good. Do you have anything to add? No? Okay. If you need a recycling container, you can contact Amber. They have recycling containers in Bonner Springs for the people that are picked up once a week with the trash. Get back in my cubbyhole. Roll right along to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Item number 2 are citizens' concerns about items not on today's agenda. This is an opportunity for the citizens to address the mayor and city council on the record in the open public meeting. No immediate action will be taken on these issues in the interest of fair and transparent city government. All issues will be investigated, researched, or addressed as necessary, and with the consensus of the city council placed on a future agenda. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to stand and address the city council on an item that's not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll roll right along to the consent agenda. Our consent agenda this evening includes the minutes from the October 23rd meeting, claims for city operation, Public Housing Authority claims, appointments to boards and commissions, public use request for Small Business Saturday, city rate and fee amendments, and to extend the audit contract with Mize and Hauser for the 2017 audit. Anything to be pulled by the city staff? Any citizens have any issues? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mayor Harrington, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So,
Made and seconded. No clarifications? Vote, please.
Cooper?
Cooper.
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Shirley? Yes. Shannon?
Well, that's rolling right along. That brings us right up to item number 10, which I would imagine most people are here for this evening. This is a special use permit, SUP 139, the farms at Wood End Springs. I'd like to go ahead and ask for a staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Don Sloan, City Planner, Bonner Springs. This item comes before you tonight with a Planning Commission unanimous recommendation to approve. They held a public hearing on October the 17th, of which several members of the public were at the meeting. What's before you tonight, and this is bounced around, I've had several comments myself in regard to this, but tonight's item is a land use decision. The decision is a special use permit that is allowed by the zoning ordinance, subject to approval by the governing body, which is here tonight. The specifics of the site, specifics of infrastructure to the site get reviewed during the site and landscape plan process. Oh, by the way, it's condition number 2 that's on the recommendation for you tonight. The applicants are here tonight. Megan Quant, who's the lead on it, is not here. However, her fiance is here tonight. James Tilson, along with Mark and Shelley Quant, if you have any questions for them. Glad to answer any for you.
Very good. Seeing how this was a public hearing item, I would go ahead and entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve an ordinance to approve special use permit, SUP 139 for the farms at Wood End Springs.
Second.
And seconded. Questions, concerns, comments from the city council? We'll start down here.
Down on the, I met with some of the, or one of the landowners by the unit, and what's the water supply line? They have concerns about the 2-inch line coming up. I guess it used to be from Old County.
It's a county water line that connects to a 6-inch from the city side. The issue of that with regard to this project will be reviewed in the site and landscape plan, but in staff's opinion, the use of the event center is less than what the use would be for a single-family residence. And I asked specifically the question today, what their anticipated use is, and it's generally 2, maybe 3 times a week, 4 to 6 hours a day, and it's usually in the evening. Based upon what a normal residence uses, that's significantly less. The issue specific to this, though, will be reviewed during the site and landscape plan when we get the specifics of theirs, but that's staff's opinion of that issue.
What remedy is there if afterwards there isn't enough pressure or it causes them problems?
Well, I'm not the utilities director. I could tell there's 2 issues to a remedy. One of them is to upsize the line across what they need, which will bring more volume to that point. Ultimately, that question is best answered by looping a system, which is a CIP issue for the city to address. But because when we reviewed this, there's 2 new structures out there now and 2 additional lots that will all tap the same line. And in staff's opinion, this use will not degrade the water through that 2-inch line. There's a lot of 2-inch lines in Bonner Springs.
So if it does have a problem, is that the city's responsibility to remedy?
Yes.
So if the pressure's low for them, or they have some continue?
Yeah, pressure fluctuates, even in water lines, even in residential areas. This is an agricultural area, but they do fluctuate. But we'll evaluate that issue specifically with the site and landscape plan.
And the road, I believe, is brand new, it's maybe a year old out there.
It's chip and seal. It's not a new road, it's just a chip and seal.
Looked like it was asphalt.
Well, we did
Asphalt.
It's asphalt.
Finished, okay.
You been out there, Don?
Is there,
Yeah, I was out there.
the concern was brought up regarding the amount of trucks, it's a brand new road, it's a narrow road, the culvert is heavily decayed. I'm not sure the measurement on it, but it was substantially under, your typical road width. Is there any concerns if you bring in 160 truckloads of concrete? Is there any decay to the road or long-term damage? Is that not a concern? I don't know. I'm not a road smith.
The issue of construction of the event center, at least is what we know, it's a stick built, it's much like a house. The concrete, I don't know where the 160 truckloads of 8 cubic yards of concrete comes from, but the building official has the ability to direct those trucks to make a certain routing, and the routing, if you use your GPS, it's going to route you down to K32 Gibbs, west to 142nd, south to Woodhead and east.
Well, I did do the GPS. I live, west on 32, and it takes you right down Front Street and, kind of through. I understand they can definitely direct construction trucks, they control them. I do worry about coming west on 7 and Front Street, those. As far as coming through, because there's 2 tight turns off of that, going up to the events. That was brought to my attention. I don't know what's reviewed in that kind of a process or what's looked at.
It's a public street like all the other streets we look at. I mean, it's clearly. The indication at the planning commission meeting, again, the applicants are here tonight, can address that, but their indication was both in their website and their information that they hand out was going to give a directional map for the citizens to get there, and that's probably the route they'll take. But it's like any public street. If I want to go down the public street, I will. So we're not going to tell them they can't do that. But by and large, probably the folks will take the 142nd route.
That answered my question. This is for the developers. What is the maximum occupancy you would have for the structure? If there was an event there, how many people would it hold? 100, 200?
It's designed to hold 300. It would depend on what part of the facility they were renting out. There is a lean-to onto it that could accommodate a few more
Okay.
the actual square footage inside.
And I'm assuming, and this is just figuring out the traffic issue that they're bringing up, if there was 300 people there, I would assume that just on average, there'd be 2 to 3 people per car. So you can anticipate roughly 100 to 150 cars coming and parking there. Would that be appropriate? I mean, would that?
On a
Okay.
capacity filled event.
Right. My next question is, how many nights a week or a month or a year would you be open for events?
We'd be open to any time that it would be rented. Our anticipation is it's not going to be, probably not going to be on an average of 2 to 3 nights.
A week.
Yeah. And
So-
generally on the weekends.
About 100 nights, roughly a
Correct.
year.
Correct.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Kind of to tie in with what Mark was asking earlier, and I didn't notice it on the drawings there, forgive me. Is there a plan for a turn lane or turn lane, I guess is the appropriate word, from the street into the facility?
Yeah, I don't, we had discussed that, and yeah, that is something that is going to be evaluated when we get the site landscape plans done.
I know one of the concerns was the blind hill, and if traffic backs up onto that hill, it could be troublesome.
And I believe if they're coming from
Coming from
the other direction, coming from the east towards the west, that could be a possibility.
Just something that came up in conversation. Thank you.
Sir?
Yeah, but your plan is then to inform people to come around the 142nd route, to come in that way instead of the
That's
other
what
way?
we would like to encourage, we would encourage our clients to convey to their guests,
Yes.
whether it be through directions on their invitations or on their website and of course, it will be on ours. And we had discussed at the planning meeting about the possibility of putting a sign at the exit with a right turn only, so that when the occupants leave the building at the end of the event, it would be a right turn only.
That was kind of my next question about how late these events might last and then to kind of protect the neighborhood a little bit.
Right. Which you want me to answer that?
Yes.
Okay, which we agreed to have 11 o'clock night curfew and an 11:30 weekend.
I can speak a little bit more in terms of traffic concerns. We're definitely going to be taking all the measures we can to ensure that we're directing people the proper and the safest way. The venue that we're proposing here is not going to have a full-service kitchen, which means that we're going to be working directly with vendors who will be bringing in food and alcohol. So it'll be our responsibility to instruct them on the proper direction to take to get to the venue. We'll also be working directly to see avenues that we can take in order to adjust GPS recommendation online. So whether people are putting it on their phone or online, we are going to try and work directly with whoever is necessary to get the recommendation to the route that we want. And then again, just a second, what Shelley was saying is that we would like to have a sign in our parking lot that would instruct and force all people to force that right to do what they need.
Will you have the ability to do that during construction also, especially for the large trucks?
I can't say for certain, but I would imagine that it's in our, that we would have the ability to do that as well, as we will be working directly with the construction companies and the developers on this project.
Do you own this property?
I do.
Okay. This is zone A1. It used to be R3, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
and we rezoned it to A1 ostensibly because somebody, was their name Davis maybe? Do I remember that? They was going to build a house here.
Right.
And that's why. Well, now that's gone away, and I guess it's legal to do a special use permit in that agriculture. How come we didn't did they try to rezone it commercial? C1, is that the...
Well, they wouldn't, did these folks?
Well, yeah, I mean,
No.
I'm just asking, Don. I'm
No.
not very...
No, they called me before they closed on the property, and they indicated what they're wanting to do, and it's an exhibition hall essentially. For that exhibition hall is a special use permit in the A1 agricultural district.
Exhibition hall, I mean, for like horses or something?
It's an event center.
Okay, well, okay, that's all I got.
Sir?
Yeah, I do know there was several concerns residents have. The question becomes, if some of those are really not questions that are part of what we're trying to prove tonight, those would be questions that would be handled during the site landscape plans, which is water line, traffic concerns. Our big concern tonight is this an appropriate location for this? And it's actually, special use permit is actually better than having them rezone it commercial. Rezone it commercial, they could sell it to somebody else who could put whatever they wanted to that qualified under or whatever our list of businesses that can be in the C1. With a special use permit, they're restricted to this particular facility, and if they sell it, the special use permit goes away. The next individual coming in would have to apply for a special use permit. So there's a little bit more control with this versus rezoning it.
So everybody out there could get a special use permit, say for a shooting range if they wanted?
I don't know.
Well, that's zone, you can shoot in that part of the county, can't you?
I don't know. Our concern right now is what's on the
Oh, I
agenda
know.
right now.
I'm just throwing a scenario out there.
But, and, go ahead.
No, but anyway, but the thing about it is that, is it a valid location? It's Ag 1. I know the homeowners have concerns. I would probably be in the same boat as they are, but it is inappropriate, and the Planning Commission did their job, and it is an appropriate use for that location.
How can you say they doesn't?
Any other questions?
Nope.
Sir?
That'd be it.
None other from the council. We have a vote or a motion and a second. Vote, please.
Stevens?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Burley?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Cooper?
No.
Hip?
No.
Mayor Harrington?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I wonder why people that will live in that area can really strengthen the field.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Why
couldn't-
people that live in that field express what they feel about.
Yeah, I know it's confusing. It's confusing. It's confusing oftentimes. The reason being is because they had what is considered a hearing, a public hearing, at the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting, which is it's a legal process, and each side had their opportunity to present there. And then we are bound by our rules and regulations on what we can do here. Now, the uses that the city has approved for different zones of land across the city has this use in it. And it's allowed by special permit, and that's what we approved today. It's already allowed. Do you see what I'm saying? This special use is allowed in this zone, and the planning and zoning approved it. So it's very confusing. The quasi-judicial property of the Planning and Zoning Commission has the authority to approve that. Now, like they made mention, later on will come a landscape and site plan that will deal with a lot of these specifics. And like a lot of us met out there and talked about a lot of these things out on Wood End Road. That's important. Those are valid concerns that need to continue to be addressed, okay? You, as a part of that community, all of you, need to stay involved and participate and make sure that your concerns about the water line, that we continue to address that and look at that as a part of the development process, the same way with the traffic, the concerns there, and the traffic concerns, the water line, and the GPS. I don't know that that's a part of the site plan, but certainly that's going to be important for them to control on their own to direct traffic. So it is very confusing. It is a process that the state statute lines out how it has to be done, and we're trying to follow the rule, the letter of the law as best we can. There was another question?
I was told that my property can't be zoned commercial because of the water line, yet we're approving a special use permit for a business that's obviously commercial.
This business is allowed by special use in an agricultural zone.
Commercial business.
And
The same water line.
the businesses that are allowed, the uses in the agricultural zone have been determined previously. Those aren't new. This isn't something we just put in. Some of the other uses, like was mentioned, is a shooting range or different horse stable, different uses that could be considered commercial in an agricultural zone. Those are allowed by special use, okay? This was approved by the Planning and Zoning and brought forward.
For a special use permit for a commercial business.
If it's on the list of specially allowed permitted uses in that zone. So a convenience store, I don't believe, is on that list, or a gas station isn't on that list. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's already concerns, a list of approved uses that don't need a special use permit, and a list of uses that need a special use permit because sometimes they require more intense planning and zoning. Yes, sir.
A special permit that you're talking about?
Special use permit.
Special use permit. Does it have an expiration date? Is it good for a year, 10 years?
This is, it pertains to the property. This is for an indefinite period, but the subject property, if it's sold or the operation of such use is, for this permit, is discontinued for more than 12 months. So that's,
Expired?
yes.
Can it be reissued, or is it done?
Another, if, let's, for example, they sold it or they stopped for 12 months, they could come back in and apply for another special use permit. Or if they sold it, the new owners could come in and apply for a special use permit. They could apply for you could apply for a special use permit. I'm just saying, yes, but the contingents for this special use permit is that it is subject to the property, and then if it's discontinued for use for more than 12 months.
Have to go in front of the planning commission, the city board? Or just go in and say, I want to...
It would also, any special use permit has to go to the planning commission, and they have a public hearing. That public hearing is where all sides have an opportunity to have their says heard, just like this one was.
Doesn't the majority of people count when you have 3 people that have to be legally notified? 2 of them are right here. And we don't want to live right next to an event venue.
And as was indicated at the,
We didn't want it.
yeah, I
We
know.
wouldn't have bought it or moved there if we knew that.
And we as from what I gathered, all the proper notifications were made. And there was signage posted, and the,
The problem is that people aren't listening to the fact that we don't want it there. We don't want the venue there.
and the difficulty with that is it's allowed by law under a special use. So restricting their rights would be like restricting your rights. I understand your concerns, I hear you, but I want you to know each local government has the most responsibility and respect for citizens' rights. And just like we don't want to impact your rights, we don't want to impact anyone else's rights negatively. So they have the right to request this, just like you have the rights to request that on your property. Now, I grant you, you've lived there for 28 years and have a way of doing things and have your own idea of however you want your property to be. That's fine. But your neighbor's property is your neighbor's property. And those are the rights that they have. And those are the rights you have.
Residential.
No, agricultural. Agricultural.
But then it was zoned residential.
It's agriculturally zoned now. Yes, sir.
There was one thing that I noticed regarding the minutes of October 17th, which was my primary concern. The special use permit bringing in the consumption of alcohol that, as near as I can tell, doesn't have a way to police the serving of it to, let's say, minors or any way. Therefore, you're bringing alcohol into a residential area that has a narrow road, children living on it that play in the streets, and it seems to me that the safety of the neighborhood should be the primary concern.
Well,
and I don't see that as being addressed when the planning commission discussed this.
Well, the state of...
And my son likes to ride horses, and he's only 11. That's one of my concerns, that he's always riding his horse, and having all these people with alcohol.
Yeah, the state of Kansas has a licensing system for alcohol, and that's outside of the city of Bonner Springs jurisdiction. We sell permits also, but they have to meet the qualifications of the state. Yes, sir.
The alcohol license,
Yes.
who is responsible? The investors or the people having the event?
I would imagine it's it depends on who's selling the alcohol. So if you're not planning on selling it, you probably wouldn't have to have a permit. But you would have to be insured to have others that would sell or give alcohol. So whoever was providing the alcohol would have to have the license, I believe, in Kansas. Now, granted, I'm just a local mayor, and I'm not well versed on the state statutes as well as what others are. But if you had a user that was renting the facility and they wanted to have an open bar and their caterer was going to bring that alcohol, the caterer would have to have that license, I believe.
The investors aren't responsible?
their insurance is going to cover whatever goes on it. They're responsible through their insurance, but, yes, sir.
Something that kind of, I'm not sure was looked at, but in the future land use map, this is low-density residential, which people look at when they're coming into an area, try to see what's going to be what, and that's why cities put it out. This isn't residential, and this is pretty high impact to pop in. Now, I understand your land use permit, and maybe that needs to be changed.
And that may be a serious thing to consider. These uses that we allow in Bonner Springs have been developed over years, and to try and, like I made mention before, not restrict someone's rights that they have to use their own property. We have regulations concerning fencing. We have regulations concerning signs. We have regulations concerning adult entertainment. We have regulations, ordinances concerning solid waste management and where landfills, all to try and protect individual property owners. Now, we also have zoning ordinances that have allowed uses and specially allowed uses, and those have been all developed. So if you determine agricultural in Bonner Springs shouldn't allow shooting ranges, well, that needs to be changed. The ordinances need to be changed, and the way you do
More
them.
sense for us than this.
Yeah.
I think impact needs to be looked at on the thing. If it needs to come this way to protect the next group, then, maybe we'll be in and get that. The other thing is, the comprehensive plan, read about it, and it warns against a thing called leapfrogging. And that is going from areas that have infrastructure in place from businesses and jumping out past the ones that don't have infrastructure. Well, the city paid this outfit to come in and do all this work, and this thing right here is going right against that. So that'd be a pretty good way to save some money if you aren't going to follow. Or I don't know how much that gets you. But to me, we're leapfrogging into an area where the water isn't going to work. The road's going to get chewed up and it's very narrow, and we need safety things in place that haven't even been talked about. And we're kind of sacrificing our neighborhood for an entity from out of town.
A lot of those concerns that you just mentioned will be addressed as a part of the site plan, okay? That they'll have to have enough parking, enough water, they'll have to have enough access to get on and off the road. Those are part of the site plan, okay? The use of having an exhibition hall, event, wedding barn, whatever you want to call it, is allowed under our current zoning ordinances with special use permit. I'm sorry, I appreciate your concerns. However, I'm trying to answer everything as best I can.
We're going to work toward that. I just wonder why you even have future land use and why you have comprehensive plans when both of these didn't seem to hold up
Yeah,
the way
it's,
they should.
yeah,
So, but anyway,
it's a good question, and
we'll be back. We want to do as much as we can to make it as safe of an area if this thing's actually going to happen.
very good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Will when this is all condensed down and the work is done, will there be a meeting like this where the people on Whittian could actually come and look at the final results of what's going to be done on the lock, the water line, the roads? When it's all completed, everybody's satisfied, will you have another meeting so we can look at it ourselves do it?
Well, the site plan will go to the Planning Commission. I don't know when that's scheduled for, if it's scheduled yet or not, but eventually the site plan will go to the Planning and Zoning, and that's where they'll address those issues. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you because I know just about everybody up there. And like I said, the people on Wood End want to thank each one of you for listening to our concerns that we had out there and coming out people on Wood End, that means a lot to us. When we went to the planning commission, like I say, for us to go back and listen to them again like that there, and when we're told that they could pass something without listening to us, that didn't go too good with me. That guy right there, like I said, he made an enemy, and it's me.
Well,
Like I say, that wasn't fair, and ignorance of the law is no excuse, and I apologize for that. But when we went down there, we had no idea that we wouldn't be able to come up here.
well, I appreciate that, Mr. Hilton, and I want you to know that my best suggestion to you now is to stay involved in the process and be a good neighbor and voice your concerns in that planning process. Also, the concerns you made mention, maybe you need to be a part of readdressing those allowable uses of your neighbor's property in an agriculture zone. The city has tried to be as fair as possible in the design of it. And that's why we have the regulations that we have. And it's important to me that all of you have that opportunity to voice your concerns. Just like it's important to me that we follow the letter of the law and protect the city of Bonner Springs as much as possible. Because if we're arbitrary, we open ourselves up for more liability than what it would be appropriate. So I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am?
Sir, I have a saying that it says that my right to shake my arm and when the nose of the next person is there, because I need to respect that person on the face. I feel that type of business is not respecting our rights. We bought the property over there not so long ago because we want to live out in the country peacefully, out of ignorance, out of violence. Alcohol is being violent. I came from an abusive, violent husband that he was an alcoholic. I have not seen one single night alcoholic person. So they are trying to bring that just close to us, close to our children, close to our family. We don't feel safe there. I mean, I understand there are rules, but I love and respect this country, and I always admire how you are there and how all of you try to be. How you try to be just, how you be just with everybody. And I don't feel this is just fair. We want to live in a country. If we wanted to live in a commercial area, then we wouldn't show this way.
I appreciate your concerns, and I encourage you to be a part of the planning process as it goes, the site plan goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. There'll be more answers for you there.
Is this what it's going to look like?
Very good. Yep. And there may...
I hope it is this nice. Excuse me, Jeff. And I hope it is this nice for y'all. Or because...
And I'm sorry, I'm going to again state the job that we had to do tonight was to address the uses that are allowed by our zoning ordinance. And this is a use that is allowed by special permit. And I appreciate all of your concerns. And if you need more information, I'd refer you to our planning director, okay? He'll be able to give you Mr. Sloan.
The guy that thought it was still chip and seal.
Yeah, Mr. Sloan will be able to give you the information that you need concerning that. Yes, sir.
Okay, you say everything has to go back to the planning commission?
The site plan will be addressed at the planning commission.
Bring up the parking, there's only 76.
Parking will be addressed there, as well as the water, as well as the access, and any grading that's going to be done, I believe. Those would all be a part of this site plan, as well as landscape. Yes. I'm sorry, that's not a part of what we're addressing tonight. I'm sorry.
Public hearing.
It would not be a public hearing. It would be a part of the site plan review at an open meeting at the Planning Commission.
Correct.
Do citizens get to comment?
Citizens, it'll get another bright yellow sign again, but what I may recommend, since the owners or applicants are here tonight, is that when you guys work that up, that maybe have a meeting with the folks and kind of ease some of these tensions. And the tensions are pretty high, so when you come up with that, that may
Well,
be...
and a lot of this
option for them
is
to talk about.
a process. Yeah, we have a pretty picture, but it may be different. It may be different colors. It may be more barn-like, less barn-like. The lean-to you may mention, I would imagine, is an awning. But so this is a process. The next place that you'll have an opportunity to address these concerns is at the Planning Commission when they address the site plan. And I'm sorry I don't have a date for you. All right. On to item number 11, the city manager's report.
This won't be nearly as exciting. I just want to start off by thanking Gloria Ochoa, as well as the seniors that attended the coffee with the city manager.
I can't hear you.
Oh, just a minute. All right, we'll go ahead with the next item, item 11, which is the city manager's report.
Start off by thanking Gloria, Senior Center Director, as well as the seniors. I got the opportunity to speak with a lot of them last week at a coffee event about a lot of topics going on in the city, and then just some general concerns, and also just some general information with them. So I thought it was a wonderful use of time for myself, and I know that they were very excited to have me up there. Also wanted to thank the Wyandotte Mayor's Banquet or Prayer Breakfast Committee. Also want to thank Mayor Holland, Taggart, and then also Mayor Harrington. And then point out and thank Cindy Cash, who I think a lot of us know, for inviting me to be part of the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. They gave me the fortune and honor of being the master of ceremonies for the event, and I was pleased to represent the city of Bonner Springs at that event. And then lastly, I just want to point out and publicly recognize Judy Shelton. You'll see this as item 5 on the city manager's update, but she was selected as the Kansas Recreation and Parks Association Volunteer of the Year. I think several of us know Judy. She's been somebody that's been a part of several different committees in the community, as well as just devoting a lot of her time to go around and plant flowers in the flower baskets and just some general upkeep around the community. She also organized a local group of gals that have been affectionately called the Garden Girls. I'm not sure if Skip came up with that or not, but she'll be honored at the KRPA event on January 28th in Wichita, and I just again wanted to publicly recognize Judy for all the hard work that she's done, not only in this last year for the city of Bonner Springs, but for several years prior. And then beyond that, that's really all I have.
Very good. Thank you. We'll go ahead and move right on to city council items, and we'll start down here with Mr. Stevens.
Nothing additional this evening.
Sir?
Well, I don't have much to say, I'm a short timer here. I'd like to, I will never be sworn in again here. Congratulations to Jordan, who won the election in my place, since I did not run. And I'd like a swearing out, when I get on. Something like, get the hell out of here.
So we're going to swear you out.
Yeah, that's what I want. And I appreciate that immensely, peoples. I'd like to say that this thing on Wood End Road, I hope it works out. I like the concept. If anybody's been to the Cider Hill Orchard and seen their venue, if it's similar to that, I think the neighbors may, it's not a big overblown thing, and it's nice. And this looks like, have you been out there?
I'm not big with that one, no.
Well, it's
On 7 Highway.
pretty
The old Jerry's Nursery.
Yeah, and so,
Well, there's
I
one
hope
on
this
7.
comes out to be nice like that. Not a bunch of plywood shacks, That's all I got. Thank y'all. I love y'all. I've enjoyed my time on this council, and
You have
maybe I might be in Honolulu.
2 more.
Don't tease me.
Oh, trust me. Come see me. We'll have guava juice papaya, and I'll have a nice mahi-mahi. I'll grill out. Okay, but that's all I got to say. I've enjoyed my time. I've learned a lot. God bless everybody here. Don's great. Tilly's the probably smartest woman I know other than Amber. And
Hey, George, you're not dying.
well, you don't know that. You don't know that.
He bequeathed his ashes here.
I told you, my ashes are going to go in a long donkey to be put down by Centennial Park, and when you drive by, say, there's that jackass Cooper. So that's all I got, and God bless it. I'm done. I'll shut up. I will not bluster anymore, Tom.
Quick,
Yeah, was out visiting with the neighbors out there, of course, and one of the things I noticed out there a couple of times while I was standing out there for about half an hour, cars coming up over that hill from the east, going west, top of that hill, they were doing way more than 30. We might want to look at that out there and have that patrol a little bit to protect those people out there, because it's one of those deals where the speed limit's 30, but according to the law, you're supposed to be able to stop your car. The distance you can see, you can't see up there if you're going 30 mile an hour. You need to slow down some. So, sight distance sign maybe to help warn people of that. I don't know. Just say it. Okay.
Very good. Liam?
I'm just thankful that people are getting involved and being part of this process. That, to me, is huge. It's not an easy place to be up here, and I've learned a ton on this and a couple of other big projects that are in front of us. So the answers aren't always easy, but it's heartwarming for me to see if people get involved and have a voice and work together.
Once again, I also went up to Wood End and I watched and I looked at everything, and it is a very difficult decision. But these people did everything by the letter of the law, and they did everything they needed to do. I understand it's disappointing, but this is not the final straw. This is just another step. But I would say that you said it right, that over that hill, there probably needs to be some signage in the site plan, and there might be other utility lights that might need to be put up there, because it gets very dark, and I drove down that at night in dark. I understand, but that's something that you might need to voice your concerns at the next planning commission meeting.
Pat it on the head and send it out to little boys and girls. It was a done deal before the planning commission meeting.
Well,
Where would we, what venue would we come to? We've got a plan for safety items we want to get the city to put in. I'm thinking speed humps on those deal, and I know I talked to the city, and they said we can't do it because of the snow plows. Well, you can. You do those long ones, they do it in Marion, they do it in Michigan, they see them everywhere. We get those rascals in there, you aren't gonna do more than 15 over that thing. That fixes that problem. You gotta get guardrails down there on that culvert. That one that has a drop, if somebody goes off of that, somebody went off of it, they left, they broke their oil pan or something. But he kind of caught and made the other side. If they don't, that's a 90-degree impact. And that thing's deteriorating. I mean, the concrete's crumbling. But I wouldn't think guardrails would be that big of a deal to put up on the right down one bridge.
all excellent points.
Yeah, and
Okay, so where do I come to propose?
those all need to be made as part of the record at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that deals with the site plan, okay?
Now, that wouldn't be part of the site plan, because that's the road.
Well, the access to it needs to be addressed, and the part of the site plan, they can, if necessary, require there be a traffic study. I doubt this would require a traffic study because of the number of vehicles per day, but if it was a subdivision going in, with the number of cars going in and out of a subdivision, there might be some need for something like that. But for a single use like this, it won't come up to the level of impact that would be necessary for that. So the site plan, you'll need to make those concerns known, and then the city can address that when we're looking at our streets, the inventory, like you said. It is a 2-inch cap on a old county road. That's about the size of the paved road out there. It hadn't been paved all that long, too. What, about 3 years since it was?
Just a couple, 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's a year
Didn't
that we have.
Didn't it pretty much fall apart once, and then we put a 2-inch cap over what we fixed? But anyway, on Wood End, I was thinking on 142nd. But those are all concerns that need to be addressed. Some of those will be their responsibility, some of those will be the responsibility of the city. All of those should be made aware of. And we're already aware of them, but you need to remain vigilant and participate. Yeah, participate. Yep, come when it's advertised at the site plan, because there'll be a sign on the property, neighbors will be notified, come be a part of that process.
Okay, and the next city council, I shouldn't come and say, this is what we're doing, and why couldn't city council approve this?
Let's say, this could be something that he might want to address without, separate from the project itself.
I mean, it's
Maybe a safety concern, so.
you know, shouldn't I come to city council, we get it approved, it's not that much money that we're talking about.
Yeah, those will be addressed, all those concerns will be considered with your complaints that have been made that aren't a part of this project. So I don't know that we need another special meeting to go over box culvert design issues with a...
Part of the issue from a street standpoint is that a lot of these things take, just to raise the speed limit, and I think maybe our local police officer can also attest to this as well, they all have to be studied and inventoried. So just to go out and raise the speed limit out there and do trees. Well, right, I'm just saying, in the totality of what you all are expressing, there's a lot more steps that need to go into it. The water line, as an example, is something that we're aware of. I can tell you that the city is looking into, and the council is budgeted to look into a water master plan for next year to start to look at some of these areas. One of the ways that, and Don alluded to it, to ensure that the pressure is stable at that area is to loop that water line into the trailer park, because it's going from a 6 to a 2. I can tell you the entirety of the trailer park, which is about 150 units there, is all served by 2-inch water line. So these are all areas that have, and where that all ranks in priority, that's why I think the council has pointed this out, that you all need to be part of this conversation as this conversation progresses. And we would welcome your guys' input as well as the input of the entirety of the community to say, what do we need to do to start tackling these capital projects? So everybody can live in a safe environment.
And some the city might be willing to run our water line across the creek in order to tie into the trailer court?
I'm saying that when you start looking at capital projects, ultimately the city has to be part of that conversation where that fits. So if the city is going to participate in that, that's yet to be seen. I'm not suggesting one way or the other they do. I'm just saying that we need to have that conversation.
There's a lot of priorities for the water system that we have, okay? That is one of the areas of concerns. Whether it's the highest priority that we have in our budget right now is another whole, it's been how long since it's been a 2-inch water line? Since the county, since it's been annexed. So there's those concerns that we're working with as hard as we can work on all those concerns. Looping it to the trailer park would be one option or one suggestion.
Really, a 6-inch line and fix it to get through there.
And those don't just grow on trees, so we're...
No, but we just passed this deal for this revenue, and it's going to compromise this. I mean, isn't that what the planning commission should have taken into account?
Not as part of the special use permit, the land use.
When they're going to irrigate this ground, my shower's swinging as it is.
So there may be needs for water improvements that are more, raises it to a higher priority. So I don't know that right now. So
and I'm a little confused, and thank you for letting me speak. Come to the next planning commission meeting.
I don't know if it'll be on the agenda at the next planning commission meeting, but it will eventually be on the planning commission meeting agenda.
And you can get those agendas online. They're posted, what, about approximately a week before a meeting?
We need to come to next city council and bring this up as measures to get working, that we need to put into the works.
Right. I mean,
Would that be the way to go?
I think it's noted in this record now that this is of concern. I
I
think
just want to know how to get it started.
Sure, and I can tell you that that's something that we're actively working on to address, not only on Wood End, but the entirety of the city. This has come up in some other places as well as to what needs to be done to ensure traffic is moving at a speed that's acceptable. And again, this isn't necessarily just isolated to this one stretch of road. It's everywhere. So we're actively working to make this better for you and for everyone.
So the water is one issue, the traffic is another, and it may be easy to put a couple signs up that say limited sight distance at the crest of that hill, both east of the top of that hill and west of the top of that hill. It might be easy, instead of putting a guardrail, which might take up a foot of that 16 feet wide box culvert surface, to put curbs up or something that would fan out with the box culvert. We just replaced 2 box culverts on Riverview that cost over $600,000 to repair. They failed. So this is a ongoing concern of Bonner across the board. I mean, there's no one area that's more important than another. We're trying to inventory, and that's the study you alluded to that went in and evaluated all the streets. That's the biggest asset the city of Bonner Springs has, is our hard surface paved roads in Bonner Springs. It's the most valuable. So these, although it's your road, there's a little bit of your road, and there's a little bit in front of my house and your house and your house, and we have to address all those concerns. So as much as I would like to throw a whole bunch of money at every problem and fix it, it's just not the way we do it. We gotta.
Real quick, just to be clear, we have so low traffic, and we were pretty good because people know the roads and know the problems. Putting this in blows it up. Okay? So this really creates.
And some, and I hear your concerns, and some of although you may not recognize them as much of a value as they may or may not be, but the attempt of them already making mention of they're directing their traffic to 142nd is, and just like I said, you may or may not recognize the value of that, but they will direct their traffic out away from that. So already there's some action being planned to help remedy those very concerns that are going to continue to be addressed.
And just one real quick thing with that. Somebody brought up on our street, angle your approach was towards 142nd.
And that, look at that suggestion just made right out of the.
I don't think that'd be that much more or whatever, just shoot them out that way.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have signs on it. Somebody can't figure that
That doesn't, you know, that's Midwestern common sense right there.
Just fill it out.
It probably has very little to do in planning and zoning, no one.
I'm done with my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Certainly, go ahead.
Subtract anything. There is one other thing that I would like to mention. There will be a community-wide Thanksgiving service this coming Thursday. It'll be at the United Methodist Church, and it's sponsored by the Bonner Springs Ministry Fellowship. They're trying to reorganize the ministers and try to address the needs of the city. And this is going to be Thursday, the 16th of June at 7 p.m. at the Bonner Springs United Methodist Church. And what's you going to be? Okay, this will be November 16th, Thursday, and it'll be at the Bonner Springs United Methodist Church. What will be unique about this, and what's a positive about this, is that there won't be any preaching.
No preaching.
Do I get an amen on that?
Amen.
What there will be, though, are testimonies from people that are receiving the benefits of the donations that are going through, like Feed His Lambs is an organization that's represented by many of the local churches. It feeds a lot of people. Von Trent, it feeds a lot of people. There's a lot of good work going on there. And so there's going to be people there. The emphasis of this, not only it's a worship service and Thanksgiving service, but you'll hear from the recipients of what we are doing as citizens. We're all citizens, and we're giving and trying to help our community. And so this is a really big thing. I think it's a great effort, and wanted to emphasize that and get that out.
Thank you. We'll put it on the city's website, make sure that people know.
What time did it start?
7 p.m.
425 West Morris, just west of the Lions Park.
Okay, thank you.
Sir?
City staff, thank you guys very much. They have to answer my questions when I voice citizens' concerns and do that. Thank you all for walking me through that and holding my hands on that, because there's a lot of stuff I definitely don't understand, and they're very responsive. They get back to me. I did meet with Sean out there. My no vote was based upon GPS from K7 and K32, where I came in and directed me straight through. And when you go through those trailer courts, I mean, you come close to that one. That trailer's like 6 feet off the road, it seems to be. This guy was mowing his lawn. I think the water lines can be fixed. I think they're very amenable. It's a beautiful facility. I'm very pro-business. I want it to be out there. This was more based upon that redirect. But to your statement about voicing your concerns and getting sent, I voice my concerns sometimes. You don't get your way, you know. You got to keep on voicing your concerns and doing that. I mean, it happens all the time, but, you know, welcome your event and do that. But, you know, hopefully you guys can figure something out, go down out.
Be good neighbor.
Thank you, that's all I have. Oh, no, I didn't. Sean, at the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast was excellent. He represented the city well. It was a nice event. You did have a tough act to follow, though. The keynote speaker was, he was motivational. It was great. But no, Sean did a really nice job, and he had almost 400-500 people there. I mean, it was great. Thank you for doing that, representing.
Good job.
Now, sure.
First and foremost, when we met with you, I was very impressed. I liked your demeanor when you plan stuff out and stuff. And it's, believe us, it's such a pleasure because we are all family here and we do know one another. And it's very emotional, like on a lot of different issues. And I've sat here this evening and watched you and saw how you conducted yourself. I can stop right there. I thought it was great. And the majority of Nicky don't mind talking to his kids. He had so many kids in schools today. I know this is very difficult, and it's been very difficult for me too, because I know how much all of you care and stuff. I did have a suggestion. I don't know if it would be appropriate for me to say that now that I will leave right after I have it. I don't know. The one issue that I did see that we were talking about, and that was the street. And Don, I would appreciate if you maybe would allude to, I'm not trying to dump in your lap and stuff like that, but I know how you folks have talked about your street. In fact, I think you called it a superhighway, that was it, yeah. And I know they are very proud of it, and I know we all want to see it remain that way. What things do we take pictures before any of this happens, and at the end, when everything is finished, that it's supposed to be...
Yeah,
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that there's, because we did have a situation occur many years ago, not on purpose at all, it was up on Kansas Avenue, and when they brought the heavy cement trucks in and stuff like that, they were turning in, and it looked like somebody was just taking, like their blanket on your bed, just kind of squish it up, but that had to be taken care of. But you would address that. I didn't
Yeah.
I know that was a question they had.
Again, when we get to our actual site landscape plan, we will know the full impact of that. The construction traffic, and again, the owners, the contractors don't work for us. The contractors will work for the owners. And we can ensure that there's a condition in there that occurs. But I think more specifically what Sean and some of the others have brought up is, and we've received complaints about truck traffic on Wood End Road. And I think what would be best for you guys is to make an official recommendation for the city to look at posting no truck traffic on Woodhead Road. Currently, that is not there.
Currently is.
Ignore.
Ignoring it is the guy over to your right there is the one, because this came up several years ago where the truck traffic was doing it, and I don't know if it's both directions or not, but we will, the construction of this is probably no more than a construction of a large house. So it's not this mega thing. However, we will take particular attention to that when we get into it. And the owners are here too, and again, they own the ground, they want to be good neighbors, and I have to, even with the public, I have to defer to them as I defer to all applicants. I'm not going to second guess anyone in the process.
On that note, Mickey Hilton did point out to me that the bridge has no weight posting on it, so I asked Kevin about that last week, if he'd check in on it. Should there be a posting for a weight limit on that bridge? Because I hate to see extremely large, that new bridge that we put in.
Rick?
I'm sorry, yes. Rick.
Kevin Bourbon, is that who you're talking
He's
about?
talking to Kevin, he's not going to do it.
Might not help.
Yeah, he's not helping us for some reason, he just goes, no. Yes, I talked to Rick, I asked Rick about checking in on that, because if there is a weight limit, we need to worry about that bridge. I then would hate to see some of these larger vehicles going across there, and it's kind of hard to have punitive damages against them if there's no posted weight limit.
So hopefully that answered your question on that. We'll have them, look at that, and we'll condition what we can and take care of what we
I
can.
was
But
just
again,
asking out of general curiosity. I don't have any idea what the impact is or not, if it's completely void of any reality. I don't know, but I think it's legitimate to look at it.
Very good. I appreciate all these concerns. I appreciate everything that's being brought forward. It's through these type of activities, we keep local citizens involved, and we have local investment in our community. So I appreciate both sides of this, and look forward to this being that meets the letter of our ordinances and zoning and regulations and the state statutes concerning alcohol. With all of those concerns taken into mind, we'll have continue to have a great city that we're all proud of. There are changes that occur. Not everybody's going to like all the changes. I heard one time that the best negotiated result is one where everybody's irritated equally. So it's a process that I encourage everyone to stay involved in. We'll continue to review the signage. I know it's posted with no trucks, but maybe we need 2 no truck signs. Those are all things that it's a process. It's a work in progress, as well as the box culvert, as well as the hillside. Those are all things that will continue to be addressed. Appreciate you mentioning the Thanksgiving meal that we're going to have. Also, the mayor's tree lighting and Candy Cane Christmas. I want to make everyone aware of that. The mayor's tree has grown to new heights.
Can't see over it anymore?
Well, or through it, as you once could. I'm not even joking. But there's information on our website if you'd like to be involved in the Candy Cane Christmas. That's a nice event that is available for children, as well as the parade and the lighting ceremony at Centennial Park. Also, I think, like you referenced, I think our Sean Peterson, our city manager, was somewhat humble in his representation of what he did. He was the MC at the the Wyandotte County Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, which is put on by the Kansas City, Kansas Rotary Club, Downtown Rotary Club. And I've heard nothing but great compliments on the manner in which he performed. I was very proud of Sean and how well he performed, standing up against or beside Mark Dupree, the county district attorney. that guy is a ball of fire, and he's also part minister, so once he got rolling, it was, we all went to church. But it was a nice event, and I appreciate those that participated, and if you have an opportunity in the future to go to that, I certainly appreciate that. There was one other item that I was going to make mention, but it didn't leave that big of an impression, so I'm sure that, the Johnson and Wyandotte County Mayor's Council Holiday Social is coming up. And I see that mentioned here. If you have any desire at all to go, please RSVP as soon as possible. I know it says no later than the 27th, but so we can make plans for those arrangements through Amber, and I'd appreciate that.
Finally get in Lake Rivera.
Other than that, unless anyone has a question from,
I'll be on my best.
unless anyone has a question for me, we stand adjourned.